What's up, guys? It is Wednesday, and we have a story. It's Coach Ranbir,
Coach Josh,
Coach Maya.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the story
awesome.
for today?
So the story that was today, guys, it's basically about a chameleon. And now with the chameleon it's a remarkable creature. And the reason why is because it's able to change its color based on its surrounding. So now this chameleon is just like humans. And the reason why is because you may not realize it, but depending on who you're hanging out with, it's affecting what you say, it's affecting how you act. It's affecting every single part of your life, whether you're negative or whether you're positive, right, guys? So it plays either negative parts or even good parts.
And so we've been discussing this a lot, and this is one of the key factors for somebody who's trying to lose weight, get healthy, and they just can't seem to do it, is changing who they're around. Like, you have to, so what we call it is intentional communities. So this is something that we took from the one and only Craig Ballantyne.
Oh,
shout outs. But it's a huge part of his transformational programs. It's that intentional community. You can't hang around people who are overweight. And by the way, they've done studies. I forget the studies. There's a bunch of Stanford studies where you might be able to search it up by intentional communities. But they did studies, and like people who were around other groups that were trying to lose weight or had healthier habits were far more likely to lose the weight and keep it off versus people who didn't change their surroundings. And I know for me, that's a huge part personally, and I actively try to stay away from people who just talk negatively all the time.
100%. They
complain. Here's the thing, that I cannot be around complaining people, because I notice like it will start to change how I show up in my day. Like, it will change how I interact with people. It'll change
how you're talking,
how I'm talking. It'll change how I feel, like
How you think too.
how you think. And so then you're changing the environment in your head to be more negative as well. And you don't have the same satisfaction or good feelings as you go through your day when you're just around that. So for me, like, complaining is the biggest red flag. Like, that's a no-go for me. Like, if you're complaining, I'm not going to be around.
gotta get out.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you on that there. And just to touch on something related, guys, these people that aren't bringing positive impacts into your life, they can be anyone. They can be like your coworkers. They can be your friends. In some cases, they could even be like your wife or your girlfriend, guys.
Sometimes it's your family.
Oftentimes it's your family, and that happens a lot sometimes with the members we have at San Jose Barbell. I've seen it happen even with my family as well. So the biggest thing when that happens, guys, is one, like, try to limit your exposure as much as you can to that. If you can't limit your exposure, guys, what we always try to recommend you do is listen to it, but don't hear it. So become aware that the thoughts and the words that are projected into you by other people can have an impact. And as soon as you have that awareness, even if you are in that surrounding, you can actively stop yourself from internalizing that information, guys. And don't let negative external thoughts become your internal monologue, guys. And you can do that by taking the rest of your time and surrounding yourself with positive people that do support you and do believe in your goals.
I love that. That's really good. Yeah, because like even like it affects everyone. Even if you're just hanging out with like a little bit of negative people, or even just hearing a little bit of negative, like it affects you. Like it even affected me like recently. Like I've been hearing a lot of negative stuff, and like I didn't notice. Remember, notice he was like, dude, like you sounded like a little down or like a little negative, like everything all good, and like it just really opens your eyes on like how much it affects.
That's and that's like the insidious part of this whole thing is like you don't really. Sometimes you won't even notice it that you're starting to allow people's negative talk, whether it's directed at you or not. Like so that's another thing. It's like even if it's not about you to you, but you're just around it and it's about other people, that's still affecting you too. Also, what are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? If you're not careful, like all of that stuff is changing you, you know, minute by minute. And that's why, like, the number one thing is always awareness. You can't change something you don't know about. So, you know, bring awareness to it. Just look out for it, number one. And then another thing that you pointed out is, like, sometimes it's the closest people to us, and, you know, friends and family and coworkers and whatnot. And this doesn't mean that they're bad people. They're just unaware. And that's okay. But who's the most important person in your life?
Yourself.
You are. So at the end of the day, you have to be responsible for what you want out of your life. Like, do you want to have more, be more, get more? Or, you know, are you okay? Like you're allowing, it's like somebody coming into your house every day and dumping their trash. Like, they just come by and then they dump their day's trash into your house.
You're just okay with it.
It's your house, yeah. Like, you can
Pick it up.
Yeah, it's up to you to not let them in and not let them dump that trash and clear the trash. It's the same.
Like that.
Yeah, so
That's a good analogy.
that's and by the way, sometimes you become that person who's dumping your own trash in your own house, right? So like you're not taking out your trash, you just kind of letting it accumulate.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, while you're saying that, actually, one of the coolest things that'll happen, guys, when you start, just to build off that trash analogy, when you start dumping out all the trash in your house and taking responsibility for yourself and what you want out of life, the people that are close to you, even if they were negative at first, you start to become that positive person in their life, guys. So when you surround yourself with positive people, you change yourself, and even if there are negative people in your life, you start to become the one that impacts them. And over time, they actually start to model themselves after you as well, guys, because it goes both ways.
Yep.
So you always have a choice. If someone's feeding that negative energy to you, you can still just feed them back positive energy, and eventually that's what you'll get back as well.
Can I brag for a second?
Go for it.
Alright, cool. Tori, is this okay? I'm gonna brag. Alright. Okay. So one of the things that I'm very proud of and that makes me very happy is my whole life I've been active and whatnot, you know. In fact, I was the only active person in my entire family. And when I was younger, I would get upset and like really like bothered and like frustrated, like talking to my family, like, you guys need to do this, you need to work out, like, oh my god, like those are carbs, like, and you know, even though I didn't know anything about nutrition at this point, but I would be telling other people what to do and being pissed, and it was affecting me, right? And then over time, as I learned more and I stopped like trying to change other people, and I just continue to, you know, a little bit focus on myself every day, more and more. Today, there is not a single person in my family who doesn't work out. And so that's like that. And by the way, we hear this all the time. Like, students will come in, they're like, oh my god, my coworkers are asking me for fitness advice, or like, my coworker started drinking more water, or my mom has lost 20 pounds because she saw me eating healthy. So like 100%, and I think that's something that is anything that makes you feel good, you know, is something that shouldn't be overlooked. So this is another benefit of you focusing on yourself and monitoring what's coming into your house, what's coming into your brain, and what you're around, because then it's gonna send the ripples.
You know what that reminds me of? The story of the coffee bean.
This is one of my favorite stories of all time.
You want to tell that one?
Do we have time for this?
I don't even know this one, guys.
Ooh,
I'm excited as you are to hear this right now.
You want to tell this?
I know you like this story, but I can tell if you want.
Alright, go.
Alright, so how the story goes is basically, it starts off with this little girl. She starts complaining. She's not really happy. And what happens is her mom takes her in the kitchen, sits her down, and doesn't say anything. Now they basically the mom gets 3 pots and pulls out a carrot, an egg, and a coffee bean. And now what the mom does is she puts the carrot in one of the pans with water, starts boiling it, takes the egg, puts in another pot, starts boiling it, and takes the coffee bean, puts it in a pot, and starts boiling it. And now what happens is they wait about 15, 20 minutes, and the mom, she goes in, takes out the carrot, takes out the egg, takes out the coffee. And now what happens is she gives it to the girl and says, well, what happened to this carrot? And now the little girl, she looks at it, she touches it, she's like, it became soft. And now what happened, she gives her the egg and says, well, what happened to this egg? Like, can you crack it for me? She cracks it, and now it's a hard-boiled egg. And she says, well, now I want you to drink this coffee. So she drinks the coffee, and it tastes amazing. She has the smell of the coffee. It's perfect. So the point of the story is you have 3 options based on your surroundings. You could either be the carrot, go in hard, and come out soft, come out weaker, come out lower. You could go in or you could be like the egg, go in, be pretty tough, come out even harder, come out not gonna break anything. Or you could be like the coffee. And now that means when you go in, you're not getting changed by the surroundings, you're changing the surroundings. You're changing who you're around, who you're by. It's the ripple effect, just like you said.
And the other part of that story is that they all 3 things face the same adversity, right?
Exactly.
The boiling water.
Yeah.
They all reacted differently. So the way that I like to look at the egg, right, is like you're a fragile person. You're you get bothered easily, and then you come in and you go in and you come out. You're a hard-boiled egg, and you become hardened. You become bitter, right? The carrot goes in, hardened already, and then when it comes out, it's it no longer has any. It's like that. I equate that to like you don't have any self-esteem. You don't feel good about yourself. You don't have any confidence.
Not happy.
You're soft and mushy, right? You don't have any assertiveness. You don't stand for your values and what you believe in. The coffee goes into the same environment and it changes everything, right? It even changed the room because it makes the room smell better. So that's one of my favorite, sometimes people will like hear these stories and whatever, and they're like, oh, that's like, this is another thing about monitoring your environment. And I get it, because I think at some point I also thought like these things were like lame, but at a certain point you have to begin to realize that these are truths that have been shared and passed on, and the only people who think that they're lame are people who are kind of struggling with where they are in life. You have a choice. How are you gonna deal with adversity, right? And if you're part of Hippopotamus Nation, Hippopotamus Republic,
Hippo Nation,
you don't get changed by the environment. You change the environment. You send the positive impacts and the positive ripples through everybody that you meet and everywhere that you go. So,
and I feel if you're not doing that, you need to find someone who like you could talk to, figure out what's going on, like figure out everything.
Yep.
That's the big thing, having that supportive group.
You can't go alone.
100%.
At least if you want to go far. That's another one of our philosophies. Like if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yep.
And ties all back to the beginning. Intentional communities, like find that group, whether it's online, whether it's in person, whether it's San Jose Barbell, but honestly, like it doesn't matter.
Doesn't even have to be fitness, guys.
It does not. Yeah.
It can even just be like a book club group that like is positive. Like it literally doesn't matter as long as it's a positive group.
Find a group of nice, cool people who are doing good things and hang out with them.
Yep.
Stop hanging out with the people who are always at the bar, who are always complaining and bitching and everything is a problem. Like cut those people out and
help.
No.
Find the coffee beans, guys. Find the coffee beans.
Find the coffee
Be
beans.
the coffee bean.
Be the coffee bean. Shout out Unicorn Bloodmaster.
Oh, Unicorn Blood Coffee.
Hey. So favorite Christmas movie?
Home Alone.
Home Alone.
I know the correct answer.
We know the correct answer.
The best Christmas movie? It has to be Jingle All the Way. It is the correct answer.
It is Jingle All the Way, ladies and gentlemen. Favorite quote or line from Home Alone?
I don't have one.
You can't say well, a movie is your favorite if
You don't
have a favorite line from it.
Alright, you know what, guys?
At least one line. Doesn't even have to be.
I'm exposed during Christmas time. I just rewatch Star Wars again, guys.
Oh.
I don't even watch
Okay.
Christmas. I don't watch holiday movies.
What's best
guys.
in life from here?
I watch Star Wars.
I don't know how I feel about this.
What's best in life?
We can't share that with everybody watching today. What is best in life? For now, what is best in life?
Surrounding yourself with amazing people.
Is surrounding
The
yourself
coffee bean,
with
guys.
And being the coffee bean.
What's your favorite line from Turbo?
Turbo Man.
No, from
Hey! That's the line.
from Jingle All the Way.
Can't think of any right now. What's your favorite line?
I have too many.
Put one
Well,
out.
all right. Hey, we'll start with this one. Always keep your promises if you want to keep your friends. That's Turbo Man.
Oh, okay.
Turbo Man was dropping heat back in the day. That was 1995.
What's your second one?
Another one is I'm not a pervert. I just wanted to live in that ball. That's Arnold.
That's his second.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
a
give
third.
you one more.
Alright, while you're thinking of that, I actually remembered a Christmas movie that I do know lines from that I watched at least 4 times. Guys, this is called Christmas Story, and my favorite line from that one is, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid!"
Okay.
Classic line. You haven't seen that movie.
No, I haven't.
Alright, so
Are you still talking about how Jingle All the Way is like the best movie of all time?
yeah.
Sean's hating.
When are you gonna drop that, bro?
Never, apparently.
Alright,
Sean
we
is
need
not.
to have a meeting with
Sean
Sean.
is not the coffee bean right now.
He is not. That is
yeah, dude, come on, Sean.
example of not being a coffee bean. Guys, hope you guys have a fantastic night. Be careful what kind of people you surround yourself with. Be the coffee bean. Find that intentional community. Go watch Jingle All the Way.
Boom.
Go watch Christmas
Boom.
Story.